Yeah. The way to think about orthotic sometimes is as like you'd think about a brace for another part of the body, isn't it? Like a knee brace. So if you had a knee operation, you might wear a brace for a little while, but eventually you want to get off it. Is that a similar line of thinking to orthotics?
Yeah. So there's depending on the podiatrist that you talk to, but I think nowadays the role of an orthotic is to support a foot whilst it's being strengthened, with the ultimate goal that you may not need orthotics long term, but some people do. Some people will need to be in an orthotic long term. My goal is always, if a person is given a set of orthotics, I will always say to them, you need to review with your podiatrist maybe every 6 months. Particularly if you're doing strengthening work, because your foot, just like the back, if you're wearing a brace, a supportive brace, and then you're doing a strengthening program, you may not need to wear it all the time. You might need a less supportive brace, and then you can get rid of it. It's the same with insoles. You may need a really supportive insole, and then as the foot gets stronger, you can decrease the support of the insole.
I think that'll come as a big surprise to a lot of people, that you don't, once you have orthotics, that doesn't mean you have orthotics forever.
Yes. Yeah.
That'll be surprising to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it's one, I find it's probably one of those set and forget areas, like you see people with this horribly worn out orthotic, and you say,
how long
have you been wearing that for?
Yeah,
They say,
exactly.
6 years. And you're
Yeah.
like, have you had it reviewed? No, I haven't. So they don't seem to, and whether that's
whether they don't get told,
education on the side of the podiatrist, or just an expectation, or probably they were in pain, put their orthotics in, no more pain.
Yeah.
I love these orthotics.
Yeah.
But,
there's two things with orthotics. That's one thing that I will always encourage people to do a review with their podiatrist once they've got orthotics. The other thing I would encourage patients to do is have an orthotic. So lots of patients I've seen, or maybe you guys see patients, and they come in and they go, oh, I've got 10 pairs of insoles, I hate them all. Because they were given a set of insoles and then went off and they weren't comfortable, and then they didn't go back to the podiatrist and review them.
Right.
And I'll usually say to a patient, if they've just been given a set of insoles, you might have to come back 3 or 4 times just to tweak them.
Well, it's like a pair of glasses, like that. Glasses, you go to an optician's, you'd get a check, you kind of walk home, you go, no, these are giving me headaches, so you go back again.
Exactly.
Same thing.
You're absolutely right. And 6 months or a year into wearing those glasses and your eyes have changed slightly, you go back for a checkup, right? So do the same. It might be actually that your foot's got weaker, and you're starting to get pain, and it's not the orthotic, but it's actually that your muscles have got weak and it's not supporting the foot. So you need a review, or you need to see your physio or your Pilates instructor or your trainer and start doing foot exercises, which could lead us onto
really nice segue.
Curls for the feet.
I was going to say it could lead us very nicely onto a very quick chat about footwear.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is always going to stir up a big debate.
As in, like, what type of footwear people should wear.
Yeah. So you've got the barefoot shoe brigade.
Yeah.
And there's a big push, which I don't disagree with, that if we spend all our time stuck in thick-soled, inflexible shoes, a bit like the knee brace, the back brace, the muscles are going to go, I don't need to do anything, I'll just stop working. So it is really important to look at your footwear, but also to spend time barefoot.
I love
So
barefoot.
walking around,
It's like my favourite thing.
Walking around the house barefoot, you've got 200,000 plus sensory nerve endings in your feet. It would be like putting your hands in mittens and walking around and having your life in a pair of mittens if you are constantly in footwear. and your feet you've got so many muscles. You've got 4 layers of intrinsic muscles in your feet. They're really muscly, and so if you start not using them as we should use them, they are going to atrophy. They're going to weaken, and they're not going to do the function that you want them to. Take a look at people who have to use their feet for function. So people who can't use their hands and they've learned to use their feet. There was a massage therapist in the 2012 Olympics, and she massaged with her feet.
Wow.
And she had the most incredible, dexterous, strong feet. And it just goes to show that you can retrain and you can strengthen and you can
adapt and change.
Yes. And that's what I'm trying to do with my patients, is get them improving their foot function when they've got things like a stiff big toe or hammer toes or arch pain because their intrinsic muscles are weak. We're just trying to restore function, just like the rest of the body.
So with footwear,
Yes.
trainers, ballet pumps, work shoes, high heels, no shoes.
So there's not a an always and a never for me. I love, even as I'm a foot physio, I love wearing high heels.
Jane is like one of the most stylish physios I think I've ever met. It's like Amanda Lau. Have you met Amanda Lau? She's a podiatrist. Amanda, if you're listening, I really hope you are. I always just used to be in awe of her when she came into clinic in these amazing dresses and high-heeled shoes and just used to assess people's feet.
Yeah.
I'm like...
I don't get that when I come into clinic in dresses and high heels though.
Nobody appreciates that, do they?
Very disappointing.
But so I will wear high heels. I'm very aware of the effect that they have on my feet, that I might be trying to squash my toes into a narrow toe box when a foot is designed to be actually wider at the toes. If you look at a baby's foot, someone said to me the other day, you never see a baby with bunions. Which is true.
Could you imagine if you did?
That would be really creepy.
But it's true.
Yeah.
A baby's foot is actually wider at where the toes are.
Yeah.
Whereas we've actually pushed our feet from childhood into narrower toe box.
We've all got our feet
We've all got our feet out. We walked into this room and immediately took our shoes and socks off when we knew it was Jane.
So ideally, you look at my feet, you can see I can spread my toes out. Okay, so these are my feet. So this would be my toes in narrow toe box shoes. So I can actually give myself a bunion here on this side. And that would be what my foot would look like in a tight shoe. But I can correct that, and I can spread my toes out. You look at my toes here. I can spread my toes out to correct for having spent time here. So if I do wear high heels, I will actually spend time either popping my fingers between my toes, which I can demonstrate in a minute, and spreading my toes out, massaging my feet, and strengthening.